Welcome, my friends, in a beautiful and cool afternoon in the city of Woburn. We are now into October. I'm trying, like anything, not to put the heat on, but it's a pretty difficult thing to do. But there are a few things we want to talk about today, so I don't want to spend too much time gabbing. Do we have weather today? No weather, no sports, no nothing. Might as well go home now, because that's the only thing they only tune in for the weather and the sports. You know, tune in or talk to me. If you're wondering what this thing here is, this is a badge you got to have to get into the school. You wave this in front of the door, and like Alibaba, the door opens. Security, naturally. It has your name and a picture on it. So all the adults that work in the school all have these. You have to wear while you're in the school. I try and do it as much as I can. I keep it in the car so I can get it very easily. But that's what it is, so that's why it's on my neck. The first thing I like to do is say a few things about what's going on, maybe coming this weekend. Joe McDonough and his hospice crew down at the IA, and all those people involved in hospice work, which is a great thing. Their event, race and walk and health things, they go down there and have a hot dog and maybe have a beer. I think they used to have a liquor license. I don't know if they still do or not. But anyway, it's a great event. He's been doing it for a long time. He raises a lot of money. The money is used for a good purpose. So if you're around, so I guess it's Sunday afternoon, go down there. Maybe you could volunteer. He's always looking for a little extra help. But it's a good event, and support it if you can. The Common is lit up this week in pink. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago it was lit up in yellow. That was for children's cancer awareness. And this is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I guess the month of October is for breast cancer awareness. So the city, I'll have to give them credit. They changed the decorations on the city. They get a little new different thing. I saw a pink. They get them on the poles going up and down beside the flags. It looks pretty good, the Common. They do a great job. The park department, they do a great job down there. Now, last week we talked about on what was called the Innovation Series. Now, the Innovation Series is a program that's going to be put on at the public library, and it's along with the Woburn Business Association, the library, and the mayor's office. They're all in cahoots over this Innovation Series, where speakers of companies in the city of Woburn will come to the library on specific dates, and I'll get to the next date in a minute, and explain what their companies do. So it's just another avenue for information about what's going on in the city of Woburn. Now, last week we were here. I had another guest coming in, my good friend Mike Mulrennan from the Fire Department School Committee. He was good enough to sit back for a few minutes while we get into talking about this Innovation Series. So they had a meeting, they had their first series meeting was Thursday. My friend Ms. Gatta went down there today and talked to them a little bit about how that went. And I think we got a report from different people. Between, say, 25 and 35 people were there. Some students from the school, because this is going to have maybe some employment ramifications. Once you find out what a company does, and then if you like what that is, then you go to school, you study that, go to college maybe, or a technical school, learn what they do, and then you apply for a job there. So I think it's a great thing, but we're trying to get some people down there in the future. I was a little bit rushed last week, but I told them that if they give me the information, I'll try and get somebody there on these Thursday nights and see if we can't get a crowd down there, because everybody wants to know. Nobody knows what's going on in the city. If anybody says they know what's going on in the city, well, they don't. Now, Mike Meany's the director of the Woburn Business Association. He took it over from his dad. And Paul probably knows more about it than he does, and he probably helps him out a lot. But there are a lot of companies in the city of Woburn that people don't know what's going on inside the door. You drive by, you see a sign, you don't know what's going on inside there, you know. So now they're trying to get these people out of their buildings. Maybe the owner or somebody could be a spokesman for that company. Come down to the library on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 and explain what they do. They maybe show short movies, slides, answer questions, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. So, I lost the paper I had, but Innovations is November the 6th. That's November the 6th is the next one. And it's Skyworks is up next to the courthouse up on 128. That's a big building right next to the courthouse, next to 128 Cummings there. And they're going to be there, and Raytheon. So those two companies are going to be there on November the 6th from 6 to 8. Now, I'll mention that next week, too, because I'm really interested in this, and I think it's a great idea. If we could get the more people, you know, you'd like to start down the south end and just go right through the whole city and get every person that owns a business to come in and explain what they do, but that isn't going to work. So we'll get a certain amount of people to represent the business community, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm sure that Anita, I'll just say Ms. Bunker, right? The assistant director at the Woburn Public Library. She's one of the top people in this endeavor. So she'll be working with the other groups, the mayor's office and the business association, to see if we can't get people going. So let's see how that goes. So I want to make sure. Now that's November the 6th from 6 to 8. Raytheon and Skyworks are going to be there for a couple hours. Should be real interesting. I'd love to go see Raytheon. What are they doing? Making drones, maybe. I don't know what they do now. But anyway, we'll jump now to what Mrs. Ahern has here on her list. Winter Street plans continued for conduit in North Woburn. They have to put an Edison pipe, I guess, to provide for a new subdivision in North Woburn called Peterson Way or Peterson something, and it's off of Winter Street. So that's something they've been working on. The Armory plans were endorsed by one of the committees at City Hall. It's an amazing thing how when things are not going well, unemployment, the country's kind of in a slump, everybody's in the dumps, and you can't get anything done. But as soon as things start to pick up and the economy starts to roll along, a few more jobs, these things come along. The Armory will be all done, and we'll never remember all the 5 or 6 years we sat looking at it. And Sean Coke would be down there cutting the grass, and my alderman would be down there seeing how many broken windows there were or stuff like that. But now, they're just going, they're rolling. They're on a roll now because you're going to get some condos in there, get it all fixed up, and then the neighbors undoubtedly will be very happy. And if you drive on Main Street in the south end, you see that Lynch Cantillon, they had gotten a permit maybe a few weeks back, and their building is going through some rehab. So there's going to be a little business going down there now because we got the street and all that stuff is all pretty much squared away. So there'll be hot top in there soon. To support Harold Wyman site, Alderman tied drainage system to upgrades and plan. This is something politicians do. They watch and see what happens in a certain area, like the school. We all knew the school was where the school was going to build. I talked about this a year ago. They had some guy for $500,000. I would have told them for $5, they would have got the whole thing. But you can't because I'm not one of the ducks you got to get in a row. So they didn't believe me. But I said that the school is going to be built on that property. And Mr. Rizzo came in a couple of times, talked about the drainage there. It's very bad. So now the politicians, the aldermen, whoever they are, they come in and they say, well, let's jump on the drainage because then the people will love us and vote for us because we'll say we're going to correct all the drainage. They're not going to correct all the drainage. If you read the article in the paper, they're going to see if they can fix a conduit on Wynn Street. Now, Paul Meany's discussed this 50 times, right on this, maybe sitting in this exact chair I'm sitting in. Because that, see, I being old, I go out, so Chief Callahan used to live on Wynn Street, right near where Sal DeTesso's house is. Blah, blah. So now there's a conduit that crosses Wynn Street there, and it's always blocked up. Now, he goes back when he was on the city council, Paul Meany, that is, they did some work there, and they've been doing work there and work there, work there. Now we're building more houses in a big floodplain, and we'll see what happens. But the part about it is that the way it's written, the Alderman Tie drainage system upgrades the plan. That's just to say, oh, look at we did this for you. They're wonderful. Vote for me. Okay, thank you very much. Flu shots for 65 and older. Board of Health, Woburn Senior Center, 144 School Street, October 16th. I don't know why they don't give a flu shot to everybody. Why don't we just give everybody who wants one? Why does it have to be 65? Because people 65 are poor. They can't afford to go to CVS and buy it. And I suppose there are some. But I mean, there's a lot of poor people that would like to have a flu shot, might have to skip a few groceries in order to pay for a flu shot from CVS or Walgreens or whatever. So I don't know, it's just a thought that came into my head. Well, why don't we just, how many people want a flu shot? You know, just get them and give them out. Maybe they don't have enough, I don't know. Response mix for new roadway through center. The gang talked a little bit about this last Wednesday on a conference call, and it's like 50-50. But there's a lot of people got a lot to say about it. Personally, from my own perspective, I think it's a good idea. I mean, turn around, roundabouts, Bermuda, they got roundabouts and rotaries, and they call them all different places. But somebody comes from, these big truck drivers, they come from the west, and they get in here, and they'd be driving around the rotary at Woburn, not knowing which direction to go to get on 128, you know. And it's, according to the articles in the Times and in the Advocate, that there's a lot of accidents right there at like Moorparker, because you're coming from Winchester, you're coming around the Common. I'm trying to get past Moorparker up Main Street. This guy wants to go straight through up to Wynn Street. And this guy comes down Whitefield Avenue. He got to hop, skip, and a jump around to get around the Common to head over towards the west side. So I think if you could put a set of lights there and get it squared away so that everybody gets an automatic chance to go on green and red and all that kind of stuff, then I think it would clean up. And I think the Common, I don't even care if they put parking spaces there. If they ran the grass right up to the sidewalk in front of City Hall and made the Common bigger so you could sit out there on a beautiful day and have your lunch or whatever, or people from the courthouse, when there's always people there no matter what time of year. But I think it would be good, because I think it's time. Time has come for a change. Now, they tried this before. There's no such thing as an original thought. So these things have all been tried before, and so we're gonna try it again, and we'll put our 2 cents worth in for what it's worth. More classroom tutors may be required next year. ELL demands may require more funding. Well, the school committee, they got me on that one because I thought it was ESL, and somebody pointed out to me that English is a second language. Second language. Okay, English is a second language. We have that already. We're trying to teach these kids English so that they can go home. If their parents are new to this country, they can teach their parents or help their parents communicate in the city, and so everybody will be know what they're talking about. But ELL, English Language Learning Program, whatever that means. I don't know what it means, so we'll just drop it right there. But they're going to have more tutors for the kids. And if more tutors means what? More money. So we'll see where that money comes from. I'm sure the government passed a law saying we have to have more ELL. I'll have to ask Dwyer because he doesn't want to teach anybody how to speak any language besides English. You know, he doesn't want to help any immigrants or do anything for any immigrants. You know, just kick them all out, I guess. I'm not really, no, he's not that bad, but he's got his own thoughts on it. So we'll have to ask him if the legislature passed some kind of a law that says we have to have more tutors in the schools for language development. Personnel Committee looks to fill Human Resources post. And since the city council appointment, not the mayor, not the superintendent of schools, not anybody, the city council, the 9 members of the city council, they appoint the human resources person. So they get to interview, they had to go around, and for whatever reason, the people, some of them left voluntarily, some couldn't meet the criteria. So now they stopped it for a week or so, and now they're going to start up again and do it over. And the pay is $91,000 a year. It's too bad people can't work for $91,000, working for a community. No. Working for the city of Woburn, make $91,000 a year. Now, what do you get? What are the benefits for the city of Woburn? I don't even want to repeat them. Just think of them yourself, because I can't repeat them because I'll make a mistake and somebody say, you don't know what you're talking about. They always say that anyway. But, I mean, you get a vacation and sick days and insurance and all this stuff. So, and you add that, and you take $91,000 on top of that. They can't get anybody to work there. They have to go on what Mrs. Cox used to do, say, we'll have to go out there and find out, take a temperature of all the human resources offices in the Commonwealth or in New England, and then average it out, and that's what we should pay. I think that's bunk. Anyway, in fact, if I remember correctly, a couple of weeks ago, the mayor was endorsing a woman who worked there. And then I saw this week that I think her name was Prine. I'm just going to say Mrs. Prine or Miss Prine, Prune Prine. She's worked there for 34 years for the city. So, I mean, she must know what she's doing. She's been there 34 years. And I'm sure if you said the pay is $91,000 a year, she'd be very happy. That's my own opinion. Now, she might change that for me, but I don't think so. After some delay, the school board gets first look at the Woburn Memorial High School handbook. The handbook has been printed, gone through, edited, all the stuff they do to it, and passed out. Because before school, all the students get a copy of the handbook and they sign that they got it. So they know that if they get a hat on in school, that's a discipline problem, and you will get hit with a switch. That's the new term. You'll get hit with a switch. And of course, the school committee hasn't even seen this thing yet. Here we are in October. So Mrs. Chisholm was a little bit upset because there's certain things in there that are not what we do. It's not what happens in the school. I say not what we do. I put the monarchy "we" in there because we are in the building, so we see what's going on. But there was a lot of some things should be attendance should be taken doing homeroom. They don't have homeroom anymore. Homeroom is gone. They don't do homeroom. So that's going to get everybody up in arms about the Woburn Memorial High School handbook. You know, it's typical. It's kind of typical government. It's written in such a way that every kid is perfect and there's not a problem. But just in case there is a problem, this is what's going to happen. And after I interviewed Mr. Finnegan a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about, like, if you have a discipline problem, some infractions, you don't come to school, you're absent without leave and all that kind of stuff, then you may have to come to Saturday school. So they changed that. Those things are all in the handbook and all written out. But of course, that never, those things, sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. There's different ways of interpreting. And of course, once the parents read this stuff, they get up in arms because they don't want Johnny going to school on Saturday, even if he doesn't come to school at all during the week. So that's what you got to deal with. East Woburn at the Reading line. Inwoods transfers property to Johnson Woods. It's almost kind of make you laugh. Johnson Woods and transfers to Inwoods, but that's a big development in Reading on the other side of 93, just the same as Unicorn Park is like on the other side of 93, but it's in Woburn. And there's some property there that Inwood, the developer, didn't want to finish, so he sold it. I guess he got permission to sell it to another person by the name of Johnson Woods. And finally, the school committee officials curious if websites are getting the hits. So I don't know. I never looked at a school committee website. I promised Miss Crowley, the school committee lady, that I would look at it because she is on the chairman of the policy committee of the school department, which I kind of make fun of periodically. And she said the policy, the City of Woburn school policy is at the website. And I haven't got an opportunity to do it yet, and I may never get an opportunity to do it. But my friend Dr. Wells is curious about how many people go on the computer and look at the City of Woburn website, school department. I would venture to guess not a lot, not a lot. But I could be wrong. So maybe we'll get Mr. Wells in here one of these days and see what he finds out from looking at his own website. But I want to spend the rest of this, we've got about 8 minutes here. Everybody in Woburn got this in the mail. This is for the state. Now, I kind of recollect, I don't know, the Community Preservation Act is going to be on the ballot in the City of Woburn. That'll just make the ballot longer. So we'll have to check with the town clerk, city clerk, and Mr. Campbell to see if that's going to be on the ballot in Woburn. Remember, it was defeated when they were looking for 3% of whatever, however they get the money, excuse me, and now they went down to 1.5, and they I don't know what they used the money for. Probably build more soccer fields. That seems to be why everybody wants money. Build more soccer fields. You know, that's the name of the game. But it's going to be on the ballot again, so we'll talk about that before November the 4th, if it's on there. Now, there's 4 questions on this thing. I'm sure everybody's heard of them all. One is the gas tax. We pay gas tax. We pay a federal gas tax and a state gas tax. One's like, say they're both around 20 cents. Close enough. So now, as far as the state is concerned, if we want to raise the gas tax, Dwyer has got to vote for it because they're going to use the money to hot top the roads, do work on bridges and all this stuff as far as highways and byways are concerned, because the gas goes in your car, the car uses the road, the tax is used to fix the road. Pretty simple. But what happens is the politicians say, I took a no tax pledge, so I'm not voting for it. So what they'd say is they'll do it so it happens automatically. Like every couple of years, it'll go up 2 cents. And then 2 more years goes up 2 cents again. So you don't even have to worry about it, it just automatically goes up. That's crap. I'm not buying that for a minute. This is representative government we have here. And James Dwyer is our representative because he goes there every day, him and my friend Joe Demers, his legislative assistant. They know everything that's going on in that building. There's no way I can know it. But I want him to vote yes for the gas tax or no for the gas tax. But what they did was they put it on the ballot, so we have to decide now. We have to decide. So that's number one. What's number two, Ed? Geez, I don't know what it is. Oh, bottle bill. Now you watch the bottle bill. They want you to put a nickel on this here. Now I say, okay. Now you watch TV, there's an ad on TV that says, there's a woman out there, she's taking out a recycle. Why do I have to pay a nickel to have a recycle? Every town has recycling. But nobody recycles the stuff. But they'll do it. Somebody else will do it for the nickel. Now, I'm not going to say that around the Woburn Memorial High School, we got a bunch of litter bugs in here, but we have our share of them, but we don't have any more than any place else. And we do have a litter program and a recycling program in the school. And still, when I go outside and walk around a track, or you go to a football game, Pop Warner, or whoever rents the field, whoever has the game, on the next day, these things are all over the place. And 90% of it is stuff from McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. So I think that if we should get the nickel, get them to pay the nickel, and then some poor person, a retired person like me that got nothing to do, would go around maybe with a plastic bag and pick up the nickels and take them down and get a refund and pick up a couple of bucks. To make any money on it, you have to have a zillion bottles, you know, or a zillion cans. But it's just a question of the mess that they make. Remember how when you learned, when we were kids, you had an ashtray in the car, you dumped it out like this. Oh, while you're driving along 128, just dump it out. Kids, then the ads come on and say, litter bug, litter bug, litter bug. So if you did anything wrong, the kids yelled at you, or your grandchildren yelled at you. Now it's the seat belts, it's the same thing. But generation goes by and they forget. They forget the seat belts, they forget the litter bug, and now we have to go back to put a nickel on everything. So that'll be a challenge, because the companies that make these bottles, the water companies, Coke, Pepsi, Zero, all of them, all the fruit manufacturing ones that have no thing in them, they're all spending millions of dollars defeating this nickel thing. So it'll probably will be gone. Question 3, expanding prohibitions on gaming. Now that's the casinos. So how you say, well, wonder how that works. They already gave the guy in Everett a permit, you know. But this casino bill has been a mess since the beginning, since they appointed the people on it. The people on it, they forgot they were partners with somebody. One guy forgot he owned the land. Another guy was in prison, and he turned out to be a landowner in Everett. Now they indicted some guys from Everett that own the land. You know, the whole thing's been a big mess. It's not that I don't want casinos, it's that I want them to start over somehow. The thing is out of control. They're closing casinos in Atlantic City, and now we're opening them up. You know, you can't open a Demoulas, a Shaw's, a Stop and Shop in another store, and then we got Wegmans coming and Whole Foods. You can't open them all up. Somebody's getting hurt here. Somebody's going to get hurt here. So it'll depend on how well they do naturally. And then when they get in trouble after 5 or 10 years, they'll be going to the legislature saying, well, we're not making any money, so therefore you have to help us. Yeah, okay. The part that frosts me is that you have to vote yes if you want them gone. You know, you have to vote yes if you feel like no casinos. Now, I don't know who writes the book and puts it on the ballot and all that stuff, but if you have to be like a lawyer to read this stuff, you know, because you can't go in the Shamrock School and the ballot and read the questions if you're didn't graduate from Suffolk University Law School or someplace, because you just can't do it. So on the gaming prohibitions, it's vote yes for no. So vote yes, we don't want any casinos. So keep that in mind. We'll get back to this some other day too, because I got to get out of here. Mrs. Ms. Gadd is going to be yelling at me in 1 minute. But earned sick time for employees. That's a real complicated one, and I don't know anything about it. And I guess it's for, like say you get over 100 employees. Then those employees will be entitled to earned sick time with pay. You know, so therefore, if you worked there for 10 years, you might have, 2 weeks worth of sick days. And if you get sick or somebody in the family gets sick, you could take that time off, and you don't lose your mortgage, or you don't lose your house. And for small companies, they can earn sick time away from their job, but not with pay. So that's a little bit more complicated, but we'll get to that some other day, because it's November the 4th is the election. So what's that? Today's like the 4th of October. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe we'll do one a week or something. I was thinking of just doing a program on just the ballot questions, because I think they're so complicated. And the other thing, I'll finish up with this. Get yourself a piece of paper, a nice clean piece of paper, and a pen, and look at the ballot and see who's running for governor. Martha Coakley, Baker. And I'll go right down the line and make your choices on the paper. So that when you go into the Shamrock School or wherever you vote, you just take the paper and you just check right down. It takes 2 minutes. You already did the work at home. You cannot do it there, standing there. You'll be there for half an hour. It'll make you crazy. You know, and then say, right now, as far as the ballot questions are concerned, I'm looking towards yes, 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 yes. 4 yeses right in a row. So that makes it easy. But of course, if you want to vote different from me, then it would maybe yes, no, I don't know. But it's a lot easier if you have it written down and you go in there and you just put the paper down, here's the ballot, you copy it out the door. You don't even have to look at the name, just fill in a little circle there. And that makes it a lot easier. But it's a lot easier for the poll workers, because you'll be standing there for half an hour and you get confused. And then there's those questions. And then if there's that last question is the Community Preservation Act is on there in the city room, there'll be another one added on to the 4 that won't be voted on in Burlington, like just Woburn. So that was pretty good. I didn't do too bad. But I'll let you know how again we're going to have there'll be a big argument this Wednesday. We'll have to I don't know what we're going to do. We'll have to put somebody in charge of controlling the argument, because some people, like Paul says, he likes to gamble. He likes gambling. He's not against casinos. He's against the way the system went down, you know? And that's what's going to happen over a period of time. Then these guys will end up suing each other because they didn't get an opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing. And you of course, you remember one time we had an opportunity to vote for medical marijuana. You heard of that, didn't you? Well, they put that to sleep pretty quickly. So I don't know where that is or what's going on or anything else, because, you know, I suppose, yeah, I'm not even going to say that. So let me just pass on that right now. But just put that stuff in the back of your mind, because that's what they do. That's what they do. All right, that's it. Next time.